What's up, dudes? Welcome back. Welcome back to another Street Fighter 6 video. Today we're talking about, is this game scrubby? Man, I can't help it. I really can't help but talk about this. So, I want to give a little context to my opinion on this and where I'm coming from talking about this and everything else. So, I want to give context to the context. Now I'm going to go ahead and lay this out at the beginning of the video. Yeah, I'm kind of calling out one specific fighting game community when it comes to this video. I hate to do it, but man, from everything I've seen, every single complaining post, angry video about Street Fighter 6 and the game mechanics I've seen have been from NRS players. No shit. And I hate to do that, but I want to... I was an NRS player. I started on NRS. Injustice 2, that was my first competitive fighting game. I made it to top 50 on the ranked leaderboards, and I won a couple of tournaments. So that was really my start. So this is a player talking shit about his own community, right? So it's kind of unfortunate, but I do want to explain, and I'm not gonna be mean. I'm just trying to preface this as best as I can and explain what I've seen and where I'm coming from with it. So the big thing when it comes to Street Fighter 6 is a lot of people, and again, when I'm talking about this, I'm mostly talking about the NRS community, from what I've seen at least. That might be unfair because that's just mostly the people I follow, but I also follow a lot of Street Fighter players, a lot of Tekken players, and I haven't really seen many of them complaining, but I've seen a lot of NRS players call Street Fighter 6 scrubby. They've called it, just a bad fighting game. They've said that it makes no sense, there's no skill that goes into this fighting game, none whatsoever. So I want to try to break that down later in the video, but like I said, I was an NRS player, right? I came from, Injustice and Mortal Kombat. And you do kind of get, a nasty reputation in the overall FGC if you do start there, and I do believe that's unfair because we've had so many players excel at other fighting games, like Sonic Fox, like Samij, who's doing really good at Street Fighter 6 right now. A lot of players have done really good from the transfer into Dragon Ball FighterZ, into Tekken 7, into Street Fighter 5 and 6, Guilty Gear Strive. We've had a lot of players come from NRS and go to these other communities and do very well. The players I'm really talking about when it comes to Street Fighter and calling it bad, and calling a lot of the other fighting games out there bad, because they're not good at them, are the players who really started with Mortal Kombat 11, and the players who aren't that good. Not trying to be too mean, but it's the players that you know about because you see them on Twitter and other threads for professional players or whatever, and they're the players that play in the weeklies every week. They're in the ESL on Mortal Kombat every week, and they play somewhere around top 36, right? They're placing somewhere way below top 15, but they're still placing there, right? And I know that sounds super mean, and I want to go ahead and give some explanation for my side and why I did not like Street Fighter 5 to start with, right? So like I said, I really started with Mortal Kombat X, but I went kind of semi-professional with Injustice 2 and played a lot on there. Like I said, got to around top 50, maybe it was higher than that, maybe top 20 on Injustice 2's leaderboards. And I moved over to Dragon Ball FighterZ and Guilty Gear Strive, and I tried Street Fighter. Street Fighter is really just this weird outlier for a lot of the other fighting games, in my opinion. So in my opinion, coming from a game like Marvel vs. Capcom or Guilty Gear, it doesn't matter if it's Strive or not, Dragon Ball FighterZ, or, Mortal Kombat, hell, even Blaze Blue, Virtua Fighter, King of Fighters, something like that. Maybe not King of Fighters, they seem decently similar in the gameplay. Coming from any of those other games into Street Fighter, it's a different beast, right? You come on to Street Fighter, and it's definitely more neutral, footsie-based gameplay. The frame data is completely different from any of those other games. So to give an example on something like Mortal Kombat, we'll go with Mortal Kombat 11. I don't have a specific string in mind, but you do a string. The startup for the first button is the startup that you go off of. It's all, speaking in Street Fighter terms, it's a dial, not a dial up. That's what they're called, Mortal Kombat. It's a target combo. So you usually have 3 buttons in the target combo, and hardly ever are those buttons interruptible unless there's a big plus button at the end of it, and then there's usually a gap that you can press through. And if there's no gap, you can go into usually an EX move. You use a mirror on an EX move, at least in X and 9 and Justice 1 and 2, and you can end up plus off of that move. Plus, or at least save. So it makes sense. And you're down 1, everybody's down 1, has the same frame data on it. Since Injustice 2, Mortal Kombat, and Injustice have been like strike throw games, so you down 1 into grab, down 1 into, if you hit, you can gel into one of your strings. If you don't hit, the opponent probably down once, and then you recognize that, and then you go into a string because it's your turn. Everything kind of has a rhythm in Mortal Kombat. Street Fighter, that's not the case. Jabs, standing punches, standing light punches, standing light kicks in Street Fighter, they're all like 3 or 4 frames. They're super quick. There's not a whole lot of recovery on it. There's not a whole lot of hit stun on it, for one. So you can jab, it lands, they can jab right back, and it lands, and it's a punish counter. It's so weird, right? It's a counter hit. It's so weird. So coming from those games, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because of the way the frame data works. So you can try to press all these buttons in sequence, and you're just going to end up getting hit unless you're using someone like Ken or Guile, who those characters have target combos. A lot of it just does not make a lot of sense to NRS players, at least the mid-tier, not to be too mean, mid-tier NRS players. So they come into a game like Street Fighter, they think that they can press all these buttons and down 1 into grab works, and you know, they think that if jumping is horrible like it is in Mortal Kombat, which isn't always the case, but jumping's horrible, and it takes more thought to anti-air. You can't just standing 1 anti-air all the time, so jumping's actually good. People are going to press buttons back on hit because they know you don't have target combos, and if you're not going into a move of some kind, like you're not crouching medium kick into lightning legs, whatever the hell Chun-Li's move's called, then 9 times out of 10 the other player who's playing Street Fighter and has played Street Fighter knows that it's their turn to press buttons at that point, unless you went jab, 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 and it was a combo and you got pushed back a little bit. They know that if you just pressed down light punch once and didn't do anything else, they can press buttons, and believe me, they're going to press buttons. That's the way Street Fighter works. The way that the neutral and footsies of Street Fighter works is entirely different from a game like Mortal Kombat 11. So you have these MK11 players coming into Street Fighter, experiencing this, not caring to actually learn how the different fighting game plays, and they're calling it bad. And I really don't believe that's fair, right? I feel like these fighting games are here. We're in like a fighting game renaissance, right? I hated Mortal Kombat 11. I felt like that was the scrubbiest goddamn game ever made. And you know what? A lot of people agree with me. A lot of people agreed with me. But a lot of people like that game. And there were a lot more people that liked it than people that didn't like it. It was mostly like a lot of competitive players that didn't like it. But the casual audience and even like the mid-tier competitive players loved it, right? And they keep coming back, and they kept coming back, and they still play it, you know, 4 years later. They're still getting down on that shit, and that's great, man. And now we have Street Fighter 6, which I feel like is an objectively good fighting game. Probably the most objectively good fighting game we've had in the past few years. You know, like aside from like Guilty Gear Strive, like it's damn good. And you have a lot of these players coming in from NRS. I hate to be like that, but that's all I've seen. So you can, if you can give me some other like data from another fighting game community that's giving it as much shit as NRS, like I'll gladly accept that. Like please, I hate shitting on NRS, but because so many people do it, it sucks. But you have those players coming in and they don't care to learn how to play the fighting game, so they're writing it off. They don't care to learn it. They want to play it just like it's Mortal Kombat 11, and that just does not work. You're not going to get anywhere doing that, right? Like you can't even play this game really like it's Street Fighter 5 or 4 or Third Strike or Super 2 Turbo. Like you're not playing the same game. You cannot come over from Dragon Ball FighterZ and expect to play it the same way. I would say the only game that you can come into Street Fighter 6 and kind of try to play it like, No, I really can't think of a good example. You cannot play this fighting game like any other fighting game. It's completely different. The parry system, the drop mechanics, the way the footsies actually work in this game, where it's like a hybrid of like Street Fighter 5 and I would say Third Strike, the way the footsies work with the parry mechanic and how target combos are there, and the pressure on wake up with all the Oki and the defensive options. Like, it's such a different game, and it's all balanced around that. There's not a single thing in this game that a character can do that you can't counter. As frustrated as I get with it, right? Like, and I get frustrated with it, super frustrated. I'm sitting there cussing at my monitor playing the game. When I step back for a minute and I think about it, there's not a single thing that happened in the match that was out of my control, except for Honda headbutt. That's like literally it, and Honda butt slam. That's it, dude. The jumping, the constant jumps off a hit, while, like, you know, when they got hit and they jump right after that. Hey man, I didn't gel them into something else, right? Like, when they got hit, I didn't gel them into a special. If I did, because you can combine, you can do crouching light punch into with Ken, I think it's crouching light punch, standing light kick, dragon punch, right? It's that easy. For any other character, every other character has that. You notice a crouching light punch hit, you gel it, not gel it, but you combo it into another, and hell another, and most characters in the game have a special move that they can combo that with, even if it's a light, right? They can combo it, they're in pressure, it's your option. If you're getting jumped on, you have anti-airs, you have standing buttons most of the time, even crouching heavies work. Chun-Li has her standing medium kick that is a great anti-air. She also has an invulnerable DP, like most characters. The only character that really struggles with anti-airs in the game is Marissa, but she has an incredible air. So she even has an answer. Like, there's an answer for everything in this game, and I really feel like, I really wish, and I'm going to call, like, not just like the entire NRS community out, really specifically the Mortal Kombat 11 players, because Mortal Kombat 11, in my opinion, held your hand through most of that game, with the fatal blows, the crushing blows, the flawless blocks, the regenerating meter, the offensive and defensive meter split, the breakaways and combos, man, to where you could break away in someone's combo and punish them for opening you up. Like, ridiculous, right? I feel like that fighting game held your hand most of the time. And coming from a fighting game like that into a fighting game where everything is balls to the wall, absolutely insane, nutty, 1000% of the time, where you're always having to make a decision, you could always be in pressure, and you can get trapped in infinite pressure if you don't know how to deal with it, by using one of the other game mechanics in the game. If you don't care to learn how to do that, you're going to think it's a bad fighting game, and you're going to think it's scrubby, and I just don't think it's fair to have that base of opinion without at least trying to figure out something to do about it first, right? Like, so I want to give a good example. I thought Cammy was broken all to shit, because I had a match when I was in probably Platinum 3 with Ken, and I'm in Diamond 2 with him now, and I'm working my way to Master. I had a match against the Cammy where she just did her standing heavy punch target combo. I think it goes into like standing heavy punch, and heavy kick, or maybe medium kick, heavy kick, and you can go into her dive kick, EX dive kick, and not even just EX, just the normal dive kick, after the second piece of the target combo. And she's plus. She is absolutely plus, or at least she's so even on block that you have to be frame perfect to beat out her light punch. So if you don't know to parry the dive kick in that sequence, you're trapped in pressure. If you don't know to parry there, or to DP out, or to level 1 super or level 3 super out, you are stuck there, man. And I had that match against her, and I could not figure out what to do. Could not get out of it, and I thought it was the most broken shit. Well, the next time I had a Cammy shot that to me, I'm like, oh shit, wait, I have parry. And so I parried it. First try, not hard timing, perfect parried, out of the situation, won the match. Everything has a counter in this game. You just have to find it. Writing it off as a bad fighting game just because you don't know how to deal, or don't care to figure out how to deal with a specific situation that happened to you that's frustrating you, does not make it bad. And I really encourage everyone that feels that way about Street Fighter 6 and any other fighting game, really, except MK11. That game really does just hold your hand, in my opinion. I encourage everyone to take that mindset with fighting games and do your best to figure out a way around these situations that are frustrating you. And if there's not, that's bad gameplay design. But I promise you, in Street Fighter 6, there's always a way out. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Man, I'm a part of the NRS community. I started there, and I hate shitting on them, but goddamn, they're always the ones I see bitching. Anyway, thanks for watching, dudes. I appreciate it. My name's Tootin, and I will see you dudes next time. Peace out.